Welcome in to the Hustle Show podcast. I'm Kelly in Vegas, joined by Adam Trigger of WagerTalk.com, Mark Zeno of about 85 other companies that I'm not going to promote, and Bryan Power, also of WagerTalk.com. We're going to have a fun time today. Drew Martin is not here to run the show. I will be here. I will be fucking up every Viva read possible. And as you can tell, I only have one flavor behind me, the only flavor that matters, and that is grapefruit. Also, WagerTalk right now, new customers. We've got a special promo for you. I'll drop that here right now. Try WT, take 50% off either your first daily package or a 3-day all access pass. That is coupon code TRYWT. All right, guys, we're going to talk some NBA, probably a little baseball, particularly the Korean sort. I don't think we have any NHL tonight, and I apologize for that, but I'll work on getting some of those guests. You guys can blame Johnny Detroit for this being on the Wager Talk YouTube channel an hour earlier. Oh, there we go. We got comments flowing already. An hour earlier and, going to be year round. So we're going to struggle through baseball season together. Let's hope Bryan and I have a couple NBA winners for you. And I'll let the other two on the other side of the screen somehow make sense of the new baseball rules. Viva Tequila Seltzer. Let me get this out of the way before I fuck it up again. Viva Tequila Seltzer. Refreshing, drinkable hard seltzer. 88 calories, 0 carbs. I'm going to break a nail trying to open it. 0 sugar, 4.5% ABV. Viva, the perfect drink for your post-game celebrations. I let it sit there too long. It's a little warm. We flavored our tequila seltzer because flavor is the spice of life, and we like to drink our drinks, well, with a kick. Just like I like to live my life, not the guy to the left of me. He's really boring. That's why he drinks Huckleberry. Our flavors pair perfectly with our artisanal Blanco tequila and our subtle and refreshing drinks. Live long, live well, and live it up. Viva up right now. VivaTequilaSeltzer.com. Use coupon code HUSTLE20. You get 20% off, and they're going to deliver it right to your house. That's the show. I've got nothing. You guys, football season's over. Basketball season's over. Drew Martin Betts just decided he wasn't hosting today. I'm just going to let Adam take over, and I'm going to go online shopping in the background. I mean, there is way more important things to do. My dog's over here taking a nap. This is supposed to be my off season. And Johnny said, the hustle has to be year round. Give the people what they want. Adam Trigger, how the hell are you? That's the most mediocre bullshit answer I've ever heard in my life. Adam Trigger went 0-2 the other day, and I said I was going to fire him. When he did, I knew the moment I jumped on his 2 picks, they were dead on losers. Said I wasn't betting baseball. Mark Zeno, how's your baseball season been?
Baseball is going well. We are off to a good start. The NBA season is going great for me. It has been for a while now. We hit on both of our games last night. Our group chat will testify to that. But listen, I think as you get to the NBA playoffs, you got to start to pivot a little bit to handicapping games a little bit differently because the style and the tempo is a little bit different. But, Trig and I were talking earlier today in reference to baseball. Try not to overthink it right now. Find the better team with the better starter at home and be willing to accept the risk of laying bigger numbers on the money line until you start to get a better sample size of where we are. Right now, it's just about fading bad teams, and I think that's the easiest way to go.
Yeah, you lost me on laying better teams with a bigger money line. My brain cannot do it, and that is why it is so tough for me to bet baseball.
Can I say something real quick? Can I say something real quick though, just in relation to that? Because I agree with you, and I 100% agree with that statement. And Mark called me earlier, and he was like, "Were you just pissed off the other day when you said oh, we should just bet the favorites because all they do is win?" He's like, "Or did you?" He goes, "Were you actually serious?" And I was like, "You know what? I've talked to some bookmakers about this, and there's always a point in the year where they just pray for baseball to be over because the people will just bet Yankees minus 240 every single night, and they just win 10 games in a row. Or they'll just lay minus 230 with the Dodgers every single night, and they'll just win 11 of 12. And I was joking, but not. Like, I'm kind of like it. This is the point I'll make. We're already seeing it like early in the season. The Rays are a great example, like last week, where, I mean, they were already a $3 favorite in April, which is unheard of in baseball betting, absolutely unheard of. Usually you're not seeing like the crazy numbers like that till after the All-Star break when teams give up. And it's just like what happened last week. Everyone laid $3 with the Rays. They won every game. It's so there might be something to that. I don't know. I think I'll see if Bryan can make sense of that for us too. Because I know he probably has an opinion here. Maybe the bad teams, the couple bad teams right now, are just worse than teams. We're used to seeing bad teams start to emerge come like July, and then they fire sale their good players, and then they're really bad. But there's a couple teams right now in April that are really bad, and I don't know. Like, it's like the people that have been betting against them have probably made money so far. So it was a thought that we talked about it.
We talked about this, Kelly, real quick, and I know you have enough friends, so you don't need to make any more friends, but take a team like the Dodgers and find a friend to parlay with it and get the number down to something manageable, like under minus 150 or minus 135. Like, I even shot Trig today. I said, look, Phillies and Braves get you to plus 107. I know it's harder to win both of them, but at least you're not putting so much money out there from a risk standpoint, and some of these teams with better starters at home are more likely to win. So if you want to make a friend at this stage of life, do it that way.
Bryan Power, I'm so sorry. It's your first time on The Hustle, and these two assholes have not let you get a word in edgewise. This is why, going forward, Trig goes last. I think it's my favorite when I make Drew, who usually hosts, have Trig go last because he just sits there like, oh my God, I got to talk. I can't talk. It's not my turn to talk yet. And I love watching and, well, making him suffer. That being said, Bryan Power, welcome to the show. Talk to me about how it's been so far. We got you from Covers,
Yes.
7 months ago now?
Yeah, that sounds right. It was right after the All-Star break. So, yeah, somebody else can do the math on that.
Something like that.
Yeah, right after the All-Star break.
You came over. You're at wagertalk.com now. How are things going? And what do people need to know about you?
Well, first off, I guess something I've learned in the last 2 minutes. This isn't like the other shows on Wager Talk TV, is it? Here, I'm just trying to catch up here. My goodness, we're cussing, we're cutting each other off, we're just doing it all. But it's great to be here, Kelly. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I'm going to cut you off on that note. This is my show today because CT Betts and Drew Martin aren't here, so I'm taking over. And I have a rule called I do whatever I want. Johnny Detroit's going to yell at me for all the F-bombs. He's going to say, you're hurting our YouTube algorithm. And then when 1 million people watch the show, he's going to go, all right, fine. You get to be an asshole, Kelly. Just be yourself.
Last year we agreed.
The most genuine way you can possibly be.
Last year we agreed. We try not to do more. Like, we try to keep it over under 3.5. We try to keep it under 4 swear words. So we got a little wiggle room. That's all I'm saying.
Well, look, I don't have a ton to say. It's been a great afternoon so far. A little awkward. Guess what I did this afternoon? I took 2 favorites in Major League Baseball and won them both.
Look at that.
There you go. I had the Mets and I had the Twins. They weren't like huge favorites, right? But they both won. Split the Champions League plays. Cashed my best bet on the under in AC Milan, Napoli. And Wednesday's always been a great day for some reason for me. 20-6 on Wednesdays, going all the way back to March 1st. But Kelly, to talk big picture, you mentioned me coming over right after the All-Star break. It's been great here. We had a great college football season, great football season in general, coming off a strong finish to the college basketball season as well. 2 for 2 to start the NBA playoffs last night. So feeling good. Thank you guys so much for having me. I'll let you have all the swear words on this show, at least since it's my first time. I guess I should at least wait a couple of times to do it.
Yeah. My broadcast coach always says, that you look less intelligent. And I said, okay, well, that's just the case. That being said, we're getting into the big game breakdowns. We're going to go around the horn for all of you guys that are new here. We are not going to let Trig start, though. I'm going to make him sit there and suffer in his own silence. So big game breakdown. I'm going to kick it back to Bryan Power first. See who he likes tonight. Either we're going to the hardwood or we're going to the diamond.
Well, first of all, since I guess we just kicked the shoes off here on this show and let have it, I'll tell a story about Trig talking. One of the funniest stories ever. We went to, oh God, what game was it? I think it might have been a Kent State game. No, it was the Youngstown State game. And I call him after the game. He's like, call me. And I call him. And we talked the whole way home. And which is very rare. I can't remember the last time I had a 40-minute. I haven't had a 40-minute conversation with my wife
for that long as another grown man.
No, so I walk in the door, and my wife's like, "Everything all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I just talked to Trig for like 40 minutes on the phone. Is that weird?" And she's like, "You did? The whole car ride home?" I'm like, "Yeah, 40 minutes." She's like, "Oh my God." But yeah, so yeah. But we've all been there. But baseball, let's go there. How about next? I like the Red Sox and Rays here. We're going to talk about that game. Allow me to be the last to inform everyone that the Rays are 11-0 this season, plus 63 run differential. Only 2 wins away from tying the record, guys, to start a season, most wins without a loss. That was the 81 Braves and 87 Brewers for those keeping score at home. In terms of whether or not they get within one of that record tonight, my gut says probably. That has a lot to do with the fact they're facing Chris Sale, who I think is cooked, just doesn't have it anymore. The lineup the Rays are throwing out tonight, hitting 392 lifetime against him. So we should see a lot of runs from the home team. I think his first 2 starts, Sale allowed 10 runs in just 8 innings. He allowed 3 homers the first time out in just 3 innings. The kicker is Boston still won both of those games, which is pretty crazy to think. His saving grace was strikeouts. He had 7 and 6 in the 2 games. His strikeout prop tonight, 5.5. I would look under on that for the record. And as far as the total is concerned in this game, over is probably the right call. Certain shops, Circa being one of them, has moved the number from 8 to 8.5. Makes sense. Consider obviously the Rays' offensive numbers, 7.5 runs per game, number 1 in weighted on base average, number 1 in home runs, a ridiculous 29. And Boston could score 2 guys. I think most people would be envious. Most teams, I should say, would be envious of their 5.5 runs per game average. So I like the over in this game. I would lean Rays as well. I know there's a lot of hype surrounding the call of Taj Bradley, who's the Rays top pitching prospect. But keep in mind, only 14 starts at the AAA level. I don't think they're going to leave him in too long. Yes, the Rays bullpen is good, but we get over that 8 or 8.5 number. I would recommend trying to find an 8 if you're going to bet the over.
There's going to be all of 7,500 people at the Trop tonight. I will not be one of them because the place is an absolute and utter dump. But the Rays, man, everybody's getting excited about the Rays. Let's see if they can win a couple more games. Brian Power likes the over, leans the Rays in that one. Joe just texted me, our lovely producer. He goes, "What a giant shit show." Well, obviously, Joe, Drew's not here to run the show. What did you think was going to happen?
Cal.
I've been sitting at this desk for hours. I put on a Viva t-shirt. I'd get a Viva. This is not a real show. This is the end of the day.
Cal,
Adam Trigger, what do you need to say, buddy? Go ahead. Let it out.
Well, you got to let me go next for Big Game Breakdown because it's a perfect segue from like what Brian just talked about. So I'm just gonna take over, like you said. And I'm going to go next because Brian bet an over. I have an over. If you follow me on Twitter or you subscribe to my plays.
That's the segue? Oh, Brian bet an over. I also have an over. It's a great segue.
No, listen. If you follow me on Twitter, I posted yesterday this long sort of like write-up about why I think full game overs are the right move in Major League Baseball. And I went 2-0, and like most of the games went over yesterday. So, but I think like there is no reward for betting a full game under, like 0. Even if you're on the right side, even if it's a great handicap, the new rules. So you want to talk about the new rules because you alluded to it at the beginning of the show. The new rules, every single new rule is promotes an over, essentially. The most glaring one isn't even a new rule. It's the extra inning rule that where you can get to the 9th inning, you can be sitting there 2-2, and all of a sudden the game ends 6-5. I believe I don't have the numbers in front of me. I think at one point last year, and I'm assuming it's still the same, the extra inning, or as many of they average like 3 runs. Okay. So every extra inning, it's an average of 3 runs an inning or something close to that. So, I mean, you want to talk about just like you bet a full game under, you're putting yourself at a extreme disadvantage right off the top because the books can't just like account for that. If they do, then all the sharp people are just going to bet full game unders and pray they don't go to extra innings, and they're going to get killed that way because they'll just bet them across the board. So I really think that like betting full game overs, but trying to target the lines that are not shaded. So Bryan just talked about a perfect one. It was one that was kind of on my radar today. Rays Red Sox. You're going to get a little bit of line value for the Rays pitching, and because Chris Sale's still a name. So right there, and of course it got hit and bet up, and he was even saying, try to find the 8 because all the sharp people came and hit that 8 earlier today. I still agree with you, Bryan. It's probably a pretty good bet at 8.5. But like, so it just goes like there's spots where you can do it. After a day like yesterday, they're going to be fewer because there was so many runs scored. So I'll just go into my big game breakdown. Royals Rangers. This was one that was very close for me. Couple reasons that I didn't make this a client play, didn't bet this or give this out to subscribers. Corey Seager went down yesterday, so that sucks. Hamstring injury. We don't know how serious it is, but he's been red hot for the Rangers. Tough to have him out of the lineup. Move up to 9. I don't think it's a huge deal, like the difference between 8.5 and 9, because I still like if you get to 9, you're still pushing. But again, it was something that put me off. However, everything else sort of makes sense, for an over here, in my opinion. First, we'll start with the Rangers. They have been scorching hot offensively. 66 runs scored this year. I think it's 3rd in the majors. They're hitting over 300 runners in scoring position. They've been one of the best teams in the league with runners in scoring position. And Brad Keller, it could very well give up all of these by himself tonight. I mean, he's his numbers against the Rangers last couple outings in 17 innings or 7 innings pitched, he's given up 11 earned runs on 18 hits. And the Rangers, I don't think that's a fluke. They mash right-handed pitching, so it's just not a good matchup for him. On the other side, the Royals are interesting here because they're perceived, like there's your value here. The value in taking this over is the perception that the Royals can't score at all, that they're going to do nothing offensively. That being said, they took some sharp money in the market today, so someone sees something on that Royals side. And Nate Eovaldi, like I'm just gonna hope he gives up a couple of runs here. He's not someone that is typically going to go out and shut a team down for 6 or 7 innings. So, Eovaldi gives up a couple. The Rangers bullpen has been really good, but I wonder if there's a touch of regression coming there. So when you add all of that up, I really think that this one probably plays over the total. And then, of course, you have the what do you call it, Kelly? The in your back pocket, the ace in the hole or whatever. You could get 2-2 or 3-3, and you go to extras, and you just get it anyway for no reason. I would target the full game overs, and this is one I did like, was on my radar for today. So over Rangers, Royals, over 8.5 or 9, whatever it is. And I endorse Bryan Powers as well.
Yeah, I'm sitting here looking. As I mentioned, I'm not going to be doing anything, especially while Trig's talking other than important shit. This is my biggest caveat, and this is where Trig and I did a baseball video the other day, and this is exactly what's going to happen to me, and this game's going to go over the total, and I'm going to break my phone on air. Come on, Rockies. Just play some defense. Is that so much to ask? No, apparently it is
so
for
just
my
think
favorite
about,
baseball team.
Think about how many games get toward close to the end, and they're like, I mean, you're talking about a sport that's most of the totals are 8 runs. It's not that uncommon to be 3-3 at the end of 9 innings. It's just not. Like,
well, it's 6-4, Trig. So I have under 11.
No, I'm just saying,
I under 11 even money. This is where that 11 versus 11.5, when the 11.5 was juiced. And as I said to Mark Zeno, I'm a little adverse to laying juice. And I love when the people say, "Oh, don't worry, Kelly, juice only hurts when it loses." Yeah, well, it hurts way more when it loses. Mark Zeno, talk to me about your big game breakdown. What are we doing tonight? Baseball.
No, that's best bet. We were going to the NBA. And by the way, Kelly, I will say, I much like Trig and BP, I'm a talker. Like I love to get on the phone and talk things through. It helps me out. I talked to BP today. I talked to Trig today. So I feel confident in everything we're doing here. But big game breakdown, Bulls, Raptors. Win or go home, obviously, Eastern Conference playing. Now, both of these teams are top scoring in their scoring defense. They're top 10 in scoring defense. They're also bottom 10 in scoring offense. We know Toronto's been good at home this year. They're 27-14 straight up, 25-15-1 against the number at home. Toronto also won and covered both home games against Chicago earlier this year. And it kind of seems, if you look back a little bit historically in this series, that's the way it's been. Toronto wins and covers at home. Chicago wins and covers there. Two alarming stats for Toronto. Number one, Raptors are tied for the third worst field goal percentage defense in the NBA, and they're playing a Bulls team that is the third best shooting team in the league. That's a problem for me. Also, number two, the Raptors have the third worst three-point field goal percentage defense in the NBA. Now, luckily for them, Chicago doesn't take nor make a ton of threes. In fact, they make the fewest amount of threes per game at just over 10. So that may be in Toronto's favor. But if the Bulls are making shots early, the Raptors do not have an offense that I trust to play catch-up for a better part of this game. Chicago also got a decided advantage at the free throw line. I think that's going to help out with a number like this that sits right at 2 possessions. You see the money coming in on the Bulls on the money line. It was a little bit more split between the spread earlier. I think it's starting to even out a little bit, but still a lot of money on the Bulls on the money line here. Give me the Bulls plus the 6 tonight for my big game breakdown.
I was very close to playing the Bulls myself. I did not end up getting involved in that game, but I know Bryan Power has it as his best bet. Before we get to best bets, anything else you guys want to add?
Nothing other than that the Phillies just pulled through for me in my little, remember my find a friend parlay here, Kelly? I took the Phillies in the first 5.
Absolutely losing your mind before we hit live. Yeah, that time. Okay, got it.
JT Realmuto, I have gonorrhea and rotten hell. I'm fine with that. But other than that, they came through, scored a run at the bottom of the 5th. So I took Phillies first 5, paired them with the Braves tonight. Reds. So we get a little bit lucky here with the Phillies going to cash the first 5, and now we just need the Braves money line tonight. And again, Kelly, that took it from, Braves are at minus 270. Now I'm sitting at plus 107 between those two games. So I like friends. I made a friend, and I'm happy.
There you go. I'm glad we're all making friends. Speaking of friends, my best friend, CT Betts, is not here. He wanted me to let you guys know he's going to be back in a couple weeks with some hockey, but he's busy right now, slinging Viva, and that makes me very happy. Don't forget, vivatequilaseltzer.com, coupon code HUSTLE20, you get 20% off. They're going to deliver it right to your house. Or you can go to Total Wine. I found it at the Total Wine by my house the other day, and I literally texted his brother, what the fuck? Nobody wanted to tell me that, like that we were in all the stores by my house. Okay, great. They can just keep shipping it to me instead. That being said, we're going to get into the big game breakdown. I am also hitting the association tonight. I took the 5.5 with the Thunder over at the Barstool Sportsbook. And oh, by the way, Bryan, I didn't tell you that's the only sportsbook we're allowed to talk about on this show because I'm contractually obligated to do so. His face. I wish you guys could have seen his face. It was great. Listen, the Pels right now, I'm not sure what to think about this Pelicans team. We've seen them kind of on a roller coaster ride. We know that they do play better at home, but I do think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to take over tonight for that Thunder team. They're going to capitalize on that nice win that they just had over the Memphis Grizzlies just a few short nights ago on Sunday. Oklahoma City kind of been on an ATS skid as of late, but they did cover the last 2, which is something I need to see. But as I mentioned, SGA averaging 31.5 points per game. And that is what got the Thunder to where they are today. Remember, everybody said this Thunder team going to be absolute and utter garbage this year. And here they are fighting for their playoff lives. I'm going to take the hungrier team. And I think they're even worth a little sprinkle on that money line. Adam Trigger, just so you have to sit in the rest of the show in silence, I'm going to let you go next.
Oh.
So are we going right into we're doing best bets right here? I got a quick story to tell.
I gave you the opportunity to have a last thought. Zeno's the only one that had one. You didn't take advantage of it.
That's not true. You went right into your bet. I had a last thought. You went right into your bet. What popped into my head was when we were talking about Viva. Actually, you went to the Viva
that you didn't want. That is Adam Trigger for me. I'll be sitting on my couch 9:30 at night watching Yellowstone or some other thing that now that sports are not on for me, and I'm like, yes, Trig. And it will take him 42 minutes to get to the reason for his phone call.
I've been getting, Mallory makes me get to the point. I've been getting better about that. She's like, she's like, just tell me what you're.
What would Jill say? What would Jill say? Don't say in 30 what you can say in 10, Trig.
Jill would be pissed. Yeah, she would be pissed. No, you can, if you're going to playoff games, specifically the TD Garden, and you're going to a Bruins game or a Celtics game, you can get Viva at TD Garden, just so you know. It is at the Garden, which is pretty cool. And the other thing this is the story I wanted to tell because you brought up CT. I was going to say in my head, I've never met someone that tried Viva and didn't like it. And I really like, and we've had so many people try it. Everyone loves it, says it's great. And then I remember Chris and I were out in Boston one night, and this one like bro, he was like such a bro too. So like I was like ready for this from him. Like
it wasn't me.
Chris was like, what do you think? And this guy was like, oh, this is trash. One guy ever. And I thought I thought Chris was gonna kill this guy. I thought he was gonna kill him. Like we had to like go over to the other side of the bar. He goes, CT's like, I can't believe he said it was trash. Like he was just, and I was like, Chris, I go, honestly, he probably just said it to be a dick, because that was like the type of person that he looked like. Yeah. Other than that, never heard a bad word about Viva. Phenomenal stuff. I'll go with my best bet. We're going to Korean baseball, Kel, 5:30 a.m. So you can expect a text from me around 6 a.m. grinding this game out. It is a 4% play for me. I had a red hot start to the KBO season, have lost a couple the last few days. So hopefully we're getting back in the win column here. My 4% play is on the Kiwoom Heroes. I gave this out at minus 140 earlier today. It might have moved because some of these do move. I would say any money, pretty much anything here is fine. And like I would play this all the way up to minus 200 to be perfectly honest. Not a surprise here. I mean, anyone that follows this league, this looks as square as it gets to someone that follows this league. But the nice thing here, Kel, is not many people follow this league. And you can get a minus 140 in a no-brainer spot like this for Kiwoom. Woo Jin An is someone that you're going to probably see in Major League Baseball next year as soon as his time is up in Korea. So if you're not like, so Jae-Hwan Bae on the Pirates went right from high school, came over here. That's why he's, played the kid that hit the walk-off for the Pirates last night. Otherwise, these teams get the rights to you for 7 years. So once your 7 years elapse, then you can come over and go somewhere else or re-sign or go to the U.S. Woo Jin An is a major league pitcher. As soon as his time in Korea is up, he will be on a big league team. But right now, he's still in Korea, and he's just absolutely dominating this league. 2.11 ERA with a 0.95 whip last season. Those are insane numbers for a starting pitcher over the course of a season. In 2 starts this year, 0.69 ERA, 0.77 whip. He's probably the best pitcher in the league, foreign or domestic, and you can get him here at minus 140, probably because Kiwoom's lost 5 straight games. But it's also early in the season. I don't put a ton of stock into that losing streak. They've had a couple of games that were bad luck. Things didn't go their way, close losses. So I really like them to bounce back here with clearly the better pitcher on the mound. Doosan is putting a guy out there. He pitched really good in his first start of the season, but last year he got bombed in like 10 relief appearances. He's younger. He's probably only in the starting rotation because they've had some injuries to starting pitchers. His numbers last year as a 21-year-old, 10 relief appearances, he had an ERA of 8. I don't buy that his start this year, where he happened to like scatter 7-8 hits over 6 or 7 innings and get away without giving up a run, is really what he is. So I'm going to take the Kiwoom Heroes here. I'm going to back Woo Jin An, who I think is the best pitcher in the league and will be a Major League Baseball pitcher as soon as his time in Korea is up. Minus 140. I think the Heroes win. And like I said, I'd play this at just about any number because I don't see how he gets out pitched or how Kiwoom loses tomorrow.
Man, that Korean Rosetta Stone really paying off for Adam Trigger. Fast bet, Mark Zeno. Let's hear it.
All right, we're going to go to Major League Baseball. The Braves and the Cincinnati Reds here. Now, we're not going money line. We're actually going to go to the under. It's under 8. You get Spencer Strider on the mound for the Atlanta Braves. Oh, I don't know. Is he good? Let's just see. 2022 against the Reds, a start and a relief appearance combined 1-0 with a 1.13 ERA and 12 strikeouts and 1 walk. This year on the season, struck 2.5 ERA, 11 innings, 18 strikeouts. I guess that's kind of good if you're into the thing. The Reds are not a very potent offense, so I have very little concern about the Reds doing the scoring. They'll counter with Hunter Green. Now, Hunter Green, equally kind of flamethrower, but a little bit more wild thing than necessarily you want your starting pitcher to be. Last year, Hunter Green made 1 start against the Braves at Truist Park in the opener. Now, he went 5 innings and gave up 3 runs. He only gave up 4 hits in the game. 3 of those were to Matt Olson, and one of them was a home run to Matt Olson. The other hit was to Travis d'Arnaud, also a home run. That's where the 3 runs came from. Travis d'Arnaud is on IL with concussion protocol. I think you could work around Matt Olson. Plus the bottom of the Braves lineup. After you get through the top 4 or 5 guys in this lineup, Eddie Rosario is batting $194. Ozzie Albies is batting $229. Marcell Ozuna is batting $094. I mean, there is just no offense from the bottom of this Braves lineup whatsoever. So we're going to go under 8 here between the Braves and the Reds. I also like the Braves on the money line. Again, I have them in the parlay. I think they're going to win. I think they're going to sweep the series here because Spencer Strider is just phenomenal. All that together, though. But I really, really hit the under early this morning. Sharp discrepancy here, Kelly, between the ticket count and the money on the under, where we're seeing a number of right now 51% of the tickets on the under, but 87% of the money going to the under. We're going to follow Braves Reds under 8 tonight.
All right, Bryan Power, bat and clean up. Thank you for coming on The Hustle. If I don't get to say that, I'm sorry for all of the bad behavior, and I cannot promise not to do that again next week. That being said, give me your best bet. We're going to the same game we talked to Mark about. Let's hear about the Bulls-Raptors.
Absolutely. Just to go back, to what Mark said, what you said, Kel, I would co-sign both those underdog calls on the 2 games tonight. I was on both dogs last night. I actually talked to Mark. I can't remember why I talked to Mark both yesterday and today, I think. And one of those conversations, I mentioned that I am not in a rush to lay points in the NBA playoffs this year. I just don't think a ton separates these teams. The play that I had on the T-Wolves last night was a strictly numbers play. I just could not get to that number of 8.5, even with the absences Minnesota had. And let's take that and transition to tonight's game and look at the total with the Bulls and Raptors. And a number that is just too low, and I'm playing this over, guys, on sheer principle. This is poised to be the lowest over-under in any Bulls game this season and the lowest over-under in any Raptors game this season. That probably has a lot to do with the fact that going back to last year, the last 8 play-in games have all gone under the total. But, I mean, come on, 212.5 in an NBA game in 2023? That's low. And certain books we're seeing are going up to 213, and I think that's going to continue. So I would get now. I liked this at 213.5 this morning, so I certainly like it at the current price. The lowest total for any Toronto game, or the only 2, that were lower than 219.5 for Chicago. We're both against Miami, who's the lowest scoring team in the NBA. Raptors games this season averaged 224.3 points per game. Bulls games averaged 224.9 points per game. So from a sheer numbers perspective, there is value on this under. I know Mark mentioned this as well. Toronto is not great at defending the 3 at all. Now, Chicago does not take a lot of 3s, but if I were them, I would put that in their game plan. I would take a lot more 3s here because chances are they will hit them. And something I wrote about last night in the Atlanta-Miami game, Atlanta had a tremendous rebounding edge that we saw play out. A lot of second chance points. I think Toronto can do that here as well. They're one of the better rebounding teams in the league. Guys, I just think this number is too low. Maybe it has something to do with all 3 regular season meetings went under the total. But again, this number's lower than that. It's a strictly numbers play. I like the over tonight in Bulls Raptors and that 8-0 trend in play-in games to come to a screeching halt.
There you go. Bucking the trends. Bryan Power sounds like me, like step in front of those freight trains. Sometimes you get ran the fuck over. Hopefully that is not the case here. Viva Tequila Seltzer. Thank you guys for being our sponsor. I only had 1 Viva, I swear. That was it. It's not even gone yet. I can't even do this right. Miss Drew Martin Betts, if you guys hated me hosting the show, jump in the comment section, tweet Drew, make him come back from whatever tropical place he's in, handicapping baseball from. That's usually his MO. I know I get bagged on for traveling a lot, but Drew Martin Betts is never at home. That being said, thank you to Adam Trigger, Mark Zeno, Bryan Power. Make sure you guys head over to wagertalk.com. New customers, that's right, try WT. Take 50% off your first daily or 3-day all-access pass. We're going to be here every single Wednesday. New time, 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific. And listen, guys, we cannot be any worse than Wager Talk today, so give us some love, please. Thank you.
I'm too.